Now for this world famous whole roasted baby cauliflower flour. That's the full name. Over here in Miznon Melbourne, I was lucky enough to meet a very nice gentleman by the name of John Said, who dined in the restaurant one of these days. It was about almost 2 years ago. It turned out that he's a very big cauliflower farmer, and ever since we had this friendship, we started sourcing cauliflowers directly from him. He has a farm just outside of Werribee, and I'm very happy to be able to source these beauty cauliflowers directly from the farmer who's growing them. When I'm going to choose a cauliflower, okay, as the name mentions, it's a baby cauliflower flower. The same way in other vegetables, I'm looking for a cauliflower that is young and small. So that refers to the size as well. I want to have something that I can almost cover with the palm of my hand. So that's about maybe 20 centimeters in diameter. The important thing about having a small cauliflower is that, first of all, a lot of things when they are still young, they're very potent with flavor, and it's also very dense and packed. So for the whole roasted cauliflower, it's very important so it doesn't break off during the cooking or during the blanching. As it's mentioned, this is a flower, so as it grows old, it starts to separate and the water penetrates much faster inside, and it's cooking all the florets unevenly, and you end up with a little bit of a messy cauliflower. Whereas if you choose this kind of beautiful cauliflower, you end up almost with an epoxy look of a shiny and smooth surface of roasted cauliflower. As you can see, I leave the leaves on. Sometimes I can cut a little bit from the bottom to remove some of the leaves. The leaves are very tasty and flavorful, and you get to eat the whole thing by the time you finish cooking it. I'm using the same water I used for the beans, so it's about 7% of salt. As I said, you need to try and find the biggest pot that you have at home. And when you fill it up, just remember that, as Archimedes found out, it has a lot of volume, the cauliflower itself. So make sure you don't overfill it. When the cauliflower goes in, it can just spill all over. So have some room left in the pot for the cauliflower. So 7% salt in the water, boiling water. I put the cauliflower facing down into the water. At home, probably this process will take about 8 to 10 minutes. What I'm looking for, and I'll show you when the cauliflower is ready, is when I take the cauliflower out and I try to press the surface of the cauliflower, it just starts to give into the pressure. This has been blanching now. We need to check it every 2-3 minutes, because what I'm looking for is a certain cooking level. Basically what I'm doing is I'm pressing it, and I can see my fingerprint here. So it's just starting to give in. It's not soft yet, and this is the perfect time to take the cauliflower out of the water pot. I need to put it in a colander or something as well. I need to let the water drain out a bit. So we let this one cool down a little bit first. What we're going to do now, we let the cauliflower cool down a little bit. It doesn't need completely to room temperature, but just so we can handle it. And I kind of arrange all the leaves underneath it. I put it on a tray that can go into the oven. And now we are oiling the cauliflower. Now the amount of oil that we use is super important, and we found that the right amount of oil is exactly the amount of oil that you need just to have enough oil on both of your hands. And from this point, all you need to do is really pat all this oil all over the cauliflower, on all area, a drizzle of Atlantic sea salt, and it goes into the oven. The oven needs to be preheated to the maximum temperature you have, and you put it kind of mid-height inside the oven. It goes into the oven until it's nice golden roasted, and by that time it'll cook and get softened all the way to the core of the cauliflower. It'll take about 20 to 30 minutes for it to roast. Okay, so now the cauliflower is ready in the oven. I just want to show you how we serve it here. You can serve it on a plate or any way you like at your home. We're taking baking paper and crunching them up a little bit. Then I'll just open them and set it up to put the cauliflower on top. This basically serves as kind of the petals of the flower. Taking the cauliflower out of the oven, you can see how beautiful and smooth is the surface of the cauliflower. I just place it on top of the baking paper. Now before I serve it, I just need a little bit of olive oil, a drizzle of olive oil. The idea is really not to oil it, but kind of give it a nice scent and fresh flavor of the fresh olive oil, and a little bit more Atlantic sea salt on top. And there you go. This is the beautiful, world famous whole roasted cauliflower flour. Enjoy.